Welcome to What to Pair, your no-frills guide for food and wine pairing. Today we are covering halibut, and below you can see my pairings. On the next few slides, I'll go deeper into these pairings, and you'll notice that with what I have listed here, there are no red wines, but you can pair a red wine with halibut. It's just not the best pairing. Halibut is, well, I'd say it's a medium fish. And by medium, I would say its texture is a little thicker and firmer than a flakier fish like sole, haddock, or flounder, but it's not rich and oily like salmon, swordfish, or tuna. Because it is medium bodied, you'd want a lighter red like a Pinot Noir, Beaujolais, or Barbera. However, the best pairings are the white wines I will get to now. Our first pairing is Unoaked Chardonnay and Halibut, and I give this 4.5 out of 5 stars. An example of an Unoaked Chardonnay would be Chablis. That's one of the most popular ones that you can find in France. But no matter where you live, where wine is made, they probably have Unoaked Chardonnay available. And what Unoaked Chardonnay means, it's just not aged in oak casks, so it is typically aged in stainless steel. Thus, it doesn't have those oaky, toasty, buttery, vanilla flavors that you might get or that you typically get from an oaked cask. Instead, you can expect crisp apple flavors, which I find it helps camouflage those fishy flavors in halibut that you might not appreciate, or at least some people don't. And Unoaked Chardonnay also has a vibrant acidity, and it draws out those subtle halibut flavors, not the fishy notes, but just the halibut flavors, and it just brings them forward, and it just helps you enjoy your halibut even more. It just enlightens the meal. Our next pairing is not a wine, it's a beer, but I feel like I have to mention it because it's such an awesome pairing, and that is wheat beer and poached halibut. I give this 4.5 out of 5 stars. And with wheat beer, I would suggest an American wheat beer or maybe a Belgian wheat beer. And what you have here is just a light and crisp and slightly citrusy beer that just amplifies the somewhat boring dish of halibut. By somewhat boring dish of halibut, I just mean halibut, like I said, it's a medium fish, but there's not a ton of flavor. And wheat beer, it just adds a little more of that citrusy flavor to the meal, which just makes it entirely more enjoyable. You could go for a Belgian wheat beer. As I said before, this beer is slightly more hazy and has a little more spice on the nose. I would recommend this with halibut dishes that have some sides that have a bit more depth to it. And then if you want to go for a German wheat beer, I could recommend that as well. I wouldn't go with poached or steamed halibut. I'd go for more roasted halibut where the fish skin is caramelized, because German wheat beer, it has notes of bubblegum, banana, and clove that might just crush those poached halibut flavors. So you want something with a little more weight for the German wheat beer to bite into. Our next pairing is Vermentino and Halibut, and I give this 4 out of 5 stars. Vermentino, it's a light-bodied white wine that has a sophisticated edge to it. One sip and you'll find aromas of peach, pear, lime, grapefruit, and crushed gravel. While light, Vermentino is also creamy and bitter, and we find this just adds a bit of life to the halibut, bringing an extra bit of body to a fish that might seem plain. For Pouilly Fume and halibut, I give this 4 out of 5 stars. So Pouilly Fume is a dry Sauvignon Blanc from France that features grassy notes along with lime, green apple, gooseberry, and smoky flint. Any Sauvignon Blanc will pair fine with halibut. I just find that Pouilly Fume has that perfect blend of green fruit, grass, and smoky gunflint that adds a bit of depth to this pairing. Our final pairing here is Pinot Gris and steamed halibut, and I give this 4 out of 5 stars. Pinot Gris is essentially Pinot Grigio, but it's just a shade fruitier and offers more flavors of peach, lemon zest, and apple. These extra flavors just bring a little bit of pizzazz to your halibut, as well as the body of Pinot Gris does match the medium body of halibut. With a crisp acidity, the pairing of Pinot Gris and steamed halibut is incredibly lovely and will want you to eat healthy more often. So that wraps up another pairing. We'll see you next week. Until then, cheers.